Hey, how's it going? And welcome to another video. So today I wanted to recount the tale of, I guess you could say, an abandoned hobby of mine that never really went that far anyways. And that is, of course, my very brief journey through the world of Warhammer 40k Tabletop. So the bulk of this story takes place in the dark year of 2016. Which overall was actually like a really good year for me, but I know a lot of people have bad memories of that year. But in the first like half of 2016, I was working full time, and so I had just more money than I knew what to do with. Like, this is around the same time period as the story I told where I went to Miku Expo just because I could. So I just had a ton of cash and not really a lot to spend it on. And that was around when my interest in the Warhammer 40k tabletop game was sort of peaked. So to take a step back, I had known about 40k mostly through my experience playing like the Dawn of War games. I remember playing a lot of, especially Dark Crusade with a friend of mine, and just learning about the lore and the different factions and sort of, dipping your toes into it. I'm by no means like a 40k fanatic, but I know a decent bit about it. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Very grim, awful, fucking depressing. And they're space marines and they shoot guns and they go blah 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 blah. So I had sort of known about it, but I don't remember exactly what it was that kind of made me focus on the 40k tabletop game. I suppose it was just one of those days where you're scrolling through the wiki or whatever it may be, and then you happen to start looking at the mini figurines and all. And then I started looking at the actual game itself and thinking, this seems like something that maybe I could get into. And after looking into it a bit more, I found out that there was a Games Workshop store. I wonder if it's still there. I assume it is. Like a decent car rides away from where I live. So I figured, might as well, I'll go fucking check it out. We'll see what the scene is like. And something that, like, anybody who knows pretty much anything about the 40k tabletop game will tell you. Like, 40k and pretty much all the Games Workshop games are expensive beyond any comprehension. It's fucking highway robbery if you want to play that game. Like, I was wondering if the prices had gone down in between the almost 4 years since I was, like, invested in it at all. And no, they have not. Like, this set right here, start collecting Blood Angels. So this set right here, Blood Angels, start collecting. This is meant to be, like, an entry level, like, start building your collection kind of product. Comes with 1 Terminator Captain Man, 10 Blood Angel Space Marines, 1 Predator tank. So 12 of these. What do you think a realistic price would be for these? This set is $95. And that's not like a cherry-picked example. You can go on the website yourself and see how absolutely fucking crazy these prices are. But anyways, one of the first things that I noticed upon entering the store was how expensive the shit was. Like, just crazy people prices. But, when you're just starting to work full-time, you're getting consistent paychecks, and you don't have shit to spend it on, that little $40 box of Space Marines doesn't seem so bad. But anyways, there was one guy working there, and other than that, it was dead quiet. So I was kind of just shuffling about, doing I would like somebody to help me with this, but I don't want to talk to you, kind of, like that kind of shuffle around the store. And I started talking to him. I was like, yeah, I was thinking about getting into it, but I don't know, like, where to start. And then he started walking me through this, like, little procedure, showing me, I guess, kind of the process of what you're supposed to do. So basically how this works is, like, those Space Marines I showed you don't come like that. They come as gray, unpainted, and not even put together model kits. And so the first step in the process is you get your model kits, and you assemble them, and you put on whatever weapons or whatever else you want. And then you paint them, and then you go and you play the game. And so they had these little, like, free sample Space Marines that you could paint and, like, take home with you. That's how they get you. That's the free sample. Because, I mean, what kind of fucking stupid idiot am I going to be having 1 Space Marine? I need a whole platoon, So, yeah, he talked to me. He was like, blah, blah, blah. Here's all the different kinds of paints. And, like, here's some of the starter sets. And he's like, if you want to get into it, I highly recommend Dark Vengeance, I'm pretty sure is what it was. It's a starter set, comes with 2 different armies, comes with a rule book, da-da-da. It's best place to start. It was like $130 fucking set. So I was like, alright, I'll mull it over, and maybe in a few days I'll come back, and I might pick this thing up. A few days later, I come back, I buy the Dark Vengeance set, and I buy this painting starter kit that has, like, all these different brushes and shit, and has, like, all the fucking paints that you need. Like, the last time I had painted something before this point was, like, some fucking, like, Easter eggs, probably. But I was pretty committed to painting these little figurines, and there were a lot of them in that box set. Like, I was watching the tutorials, I was really focused on getting the details of it all right. I spent, unironically, probably more time, energy, and effort painting those 40k figurines than I have, like, in my entire career in school. So I would describe myself as being, like, a lazy perfectionist. To where most of the time I'm like, yeah, it's good enough. But when I get really caught up on wanting to make something good, it will frustrate me to no end until I get it just right. And this painting shit was like, that was a prime example of it. And I spent many hours meticulously painting these things. And this is when tragedy struck. So one of the things included in the box set were 5 Terminators, which are the big armored guys. And after I painted the Terminators, they ended up looking just not right. And at the time, I didn't really know anybody who was, like, into painting stuff. So I made probably one of the stupidest decisions you could possibly make when you're somebody with already low self-esteem, like, trying a new thing for the first time. Because I fucking went to 4chan to TG and posted in, like, the general painting, like, assembly, whatever, help thread. And I basically posted a picture of these Terminators, and I was like, do these look okay? They don't seem quite right to me. I'm not sure what I did wrong. And I think I got one reply that was pretty helpful. That was basically just like, the paint is on there too thick. Thin your paints more, blah, blah, blah. It seems like you've painted over it too many times, which I totally did, because I was like a crazy person. And the slightest little fucking paint, tiny microscopic paint smear would mean like, alright, start over, new coat. And the other one, which is slightly less encouraging, was something along the lines of like, these look like fucking shit. Strip them and repaint them. And I don't know if you've ever had this happen where like, something will happen and you kind of know in your soul that you've given up, that you've been defeated, but you don't want to admit to it. I think that's basically what happened after Mr. TG Anon Man told me that my Terminators looked like fucking shit. And even though it's like, yeah, it's 4chan, whatever, people are pricks, it was still very discouraging. But my mind didn't give up even though my soul had kind of surrendered. And so I started looking into how to strip the paint off of, the Warhammer 40k figurines. And this is one of those niche subjects where everybody has an answer and everybody else is wrong. Like, you look into it and you see all these different kinds of solutions that people have for, like, ways to remove the paint. And everybody is like, alright, this method works. These other methods I tried did not work. Don't even waste your time. And then somebody else will reply and be like, this guy's wrong. This is the only method that works. So it's kind of just a clusterfuck. But eventually I discovered, there was this one, I don't remember what the name of the product was. I just remember calling it the purple stuff. Oh, no, wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, the purple stuff is the saving grace that comes after this. So a little bit after, I had asked my grandma, like, do you know of any ways to remove paint on, like, tiny little things like this? And she was basically like, yeah, I don't fucking know. You want to go to some garage sales and maybe we'll find something that's like that? I was like, yeah, sure. So we went to some garage sales and we were at some guy's garage. Musty, beat down, piece of shit, wonderful place to find stuff kind of garage. And she finds some can of something. And she picks it up and she looks at me and she's like, this is the stuff you need. And I'm like, all right, sure. No idea what it was. I was just like, all right, I trust your judgment. So we buy the stuff, we go back home, pour some of it into like a little bucket. And she's like, yeah, just put them in there for a little bit and come back in like a few hours and the paint will be gone. I think, all right, sweet. So I put it in this very strong smelling stuff go do something else, come back a little bit later, and the bucket is looking a little bit more black than I remember it being. I just think, oh, that's just all the paint that's all just mixed in. And I fished for the stuff with like some fucking gloves on, because I had a feeling if I just put my hand in there, the hand would fall off. Put my hand in there, try to grab my Terminators, and I just kind of slosh around. I'm like, that's weird, where are my Terminators? And that's when I realized, oh, these are my Terminators. This slosh is what's become of my expensive figurines. So I tell her, your fucking solution didn't work. It melted them. And like, in retrospect, it was obvious. She had no fucking idea what that stuff was. She probably just saw like paint remover on the can and thought, yeah, alright, if it says it removes paint, it'll remove paint from these like 2-inch figurines that are paper thin. So now I'm down 5 Terminators, and I ended up having to go on eBay and fucking buying the set of them. So now I have an extra problem of that I'm insane, and now I think that the figurines that I spent all that time working on are also ugly and also look like shit, and I need to redo those as well. And that's when I started looking into actual ways of removing this paint without destroying it, and that's when I discovered the purple stuff, which is some kind of cleaning solution that I don't remember the name of it exactly. But whatever, it's the purple stuff, who cares? So I used the purple stuff, works like a dream, and this was over the course of about a week and a half. And on Saturday, I think it was, I go back to the Games Workshop place. I've got my painted Dark Angels. I'm like, alright, I'm ready to play. And that's when I realized, oh shit, I've barely read the fucking rulebook, and this thing is like a small Bible. Because it is a pretty complicated game. And also, this is like a no shit, but I have very bad social anxiety, especially when it comes to unfamiliar settings. So that whole situation, like, I know it's a bunch of fucking neckbeards and whatever. We've spent all this time painting fucking minifigurines, and we're gonna roll dice for 3 hours straight. But it's still nerve-wracking, especially when, like, I'm the new guy, I don't know how to play this game, really, and I'm fucking super self-conscious about these figurines I painted. So I started talking with that same employee from, like, the previous week who was there. And he goes, yeah, we're running a little casual tournament, I'll set you up with blah blah blah, whoever. So I played with the guy, I didn't know what the fuck was going on. It was probably something I could have enjoyed if I wasn't having a freak the fuck out. And another thing about me, this whole video is just me saying weird, crazy people quirks about myself, but this is like maybe the weirdest one of all, but I have a lot of difficulty sometimes dealing with not automated games, if that makes sense. Like, video games I'm always fine with because there's always a process being controlled behind the scenes. So that it's very, very difficult to fuck up, you know? Like, you can't play a chess simulator and make just an illegal move. And so that's another thing that I guess prevents me from, like, fully enjoying a lot of tabletop and not, like, automated stuff. Is just the fear of fucking up. So I played with the guy, I lost, obviously. And from then on, I just kind of dicked around, like, watched other people play, looked at all the different products. So the same employee guy comes up to me, we just start kind of talking about the different stuff that's for sale. And he's like, yeah, if you like the Dark Angels, you should think about getting the Dark Angels Codex, and that way you can, a Codex is like a little rule book for the different units. And he's like, yeah, you should get the Dark Angels Codex, and that way you can, if you want to get the Mafalvazar, the Dark Seeker, like, you could get that set, and he's like really good, and blah blah blah. And it's like, oh my fucking god, this is like, every 15 seconds I'm trying to get sold something, and the fucking Codex is like a $40 book that's like 35 pages long. That's an exaggeration, but it's like, fuck me, dude. And I think it was not too long after he was trying to sell me the Codex, I just thought, is this worth it? Like, is it worth spending any more money on these little figurines and all this fucking paint and these rule books on a game that makes me nervous, that I'm probably never gonna figure out, and that every time I look at these figures I painted, I think those look like such dog shit? And the conclusion that I reached was, no, it's not really. And so as the people's various games were starting to wind down, I packed up my shit, I went back home, and never went back. But I guess the moral of the story is, don't be afraid to find out that something isn't for you. You know, maybe don't be a fucking idiot like me and spend almost $200 on something that you played one not great game of that you didn't understand what the fuck was going on. Like, you never really know if you're gonna enjoy something or not until you try it. And I did have some amount of fun with the building aspect and the painting part of it, even though, like, retroactively. So here's the thing, is that all of my 40k stuff is up in the attic right now. And I wonder now, if I went up there and grabbed that shit, if I would look at those figures and just think, oh my god, this is fucking horrible. Was this painted by a 3-year-old? Or would I look at it and think, huh, this is actually pretty good. I did this? But, I don't know. I guess the point is, don't be afraid to give shit a try. Even if it doesn't work out, it's better to be like, I gave it a shot, it ended up not being for me, than to always wonder, will this be something I enjoy? Alright, I figured it would be a fun bonus to check out the Games Workshop website and just check out how truly fucking ridiculous some of these prices are. Like, I'm sure there's worse out there, but as far as my immediate knowledge, this is one of the most, like, prohibitively expensive hobbies for what you're getting, if that makes sense. So, like, let's check out the start here. Alright, Dark Imperium. This seems to be the equivalent of, like, the Dark Vengeance that I had, like, the big starter set. And, like, in the grand totality of the different products for this stuff, this is really not so bad. Like, you get 53 miniatures, and you get the complete rulebook. And I guess you get all this different dice, and I guess these are little codexes. So this isn't so awful. I mean, this is still, like, very expensive. $160 is, like, not something that you just piss away. But not the worst. So we've started. Let's check out some next steps. Yeah, you know, next step. Mortarion Daemon Primarch of Nurgle. $150. Nurglings. These guys look exactly like me. Alright, so here's some crazy shit. Some Tyrannid Hive Guards. $70 for 3 of these guys. Carnifex Brood. $90, you know. Chump change, really. The Exocrine. Motherfucker's $75. Let's check out some of my homeboys in the Dark Angels. Fucking god.